we are joined by the Senior Vice President of the Gun Owners of America, Erich Pratt. You can follow him on Twitter, Erich CH, Erich M. Pratt on Twitter. Mr. Pratt, welcome to America First.
Sebastian, thank you so much for having me. It's great to be with you.
Well, I've been doing a little bit of research on your organization. Very impressive. Founded in 1975 by Senator Bill Richardson. Over the last 30 years, you've been involved in building a network of lawyers, of attorneys that defend the Second Amendment. In a time of coronavirus craziness across the nation, I'm going to ask you, it's a rhetorical question. Is your job easier or worse? That everything seems to be shut down. Does that mean that the gun owners of America have less to do or more?
While the whole world is slowing down, we have been busier than ever. And, Sebastian, the biggest threat we're seeing right now is our Second Amendment protected rights being suspended simply because of a virus. And look, I'm not denigrating the fact that people have suffered and gotten sick, but if the Constitution doesn't protect our rights during an emergency, then when does it protect us?
Yes.
Our gun rights are not akin to, like, say, buying a car or eating out at a restaurant. The Constitution says the right to keep and bear arms. That is the right to protect ourselves, protect our families, protect ourselves against tyranny. These things cannot be infringed, and yet we're facing these threats. Governors shutting down gun stores and gun ranges, sheriffs refusing to issue concealed carry permits. The FBI's background check system was so overburdened, decent citizens were being forced to wait up to 1 month to complete their purchase of a firearm. By the way, on this last issue, we worked with the administration to fix this problem, so that was very exciting. We brought that to their attention.
Were you happy? Were you surprised when you saw the Department of Homeland Security make that statement under the shutdown conditions that the gun industry, gun stores are essential? That's a little bit different from prior years, isn't it, Mr. Pratt?
Yeah, yes, it was It was great to be able to work with them. In fact, Gun Owners of America and our sister organization, Gun Owners of California, sent a letter to the administration, and we worked with them on the back end to make sure that the initial Department of Homeland Security rendering, which left off gun stores and gun ranges, was fixed and amended, and they promptly updated the list and included that. And Sebastian, that made a huge difference. In counties, in states all across the country, they ended up reversing themselves and listing gun stores as essential. Now, there's still some holdouts, I recognize. And some of them we had to threaten legal action, like in North Carolina. Even though the state is mostly good, there was a lot of counties and cities, very liberal areas, that dug in their heels. And so we sent them cease and desist letters, threatened legal action. Boy, did it tick off the anti-gunners. There's one article in the state newspaper saying, the anti-gun nuts won. And it was just this screed about how horrible Gun Owners of America and the organization we worked with down there was Gun Rights North Carolina, how terrible it is that the gun lobby was doing this and they were going to get attorney's fees and yada, yada, yada. But anyway, so it's taken work to get these victories and scratch this out, even with the positive what the administration has said has been positive, listing gun stores as essential. That didn't mean it was automatic in every state, and so we had to really work to get a lot of these areas fixed.
Well, I know one gun guy who said that you are measured by your enemies. That individual was Winston Churchill. I love that photograph of him with a Tommy gun. And yes, I think you are in good standing when the anti-gunners are coming after you the way they are. Check out this organization, support it at gunownersaction.org, and follow Mr. Pratt on Twitter, Erich M. Pratt. In the last couple of minutes we have with you, Mr. Pratt, it's a kind of a mixed bag, isn't it, in the last few years? So we've seen incredible, record-breaking figures for people who've, I guess, found the Second Amendment and decided to buy a weapon to practice and to actually realize their civil rights. But on the other hand, we can't take anything for granted. Is it too much to say? Is it an exaggeration that our Second Amendment civil rights are under threat like they've never been under threat before?
Oh, it's no exaggeration. I mean, just the fact that you have, as we were just talking about, governors across the country, not even taking legislation and sign it into law, but just by decree declaring that you can't purchase a firearm, or sheriffs saying, you're not going to be able to get a concealed carry permit. And that's another battle that we've been involved in at Gun Owners of America, and scratching our way to get places like Pennsylvania finally issuing concealed carry permits and things like that. No, there is a definite attack, a definite animus against gun owners. And you just said you're known by your enemies. I'm sure you remember former Majority Leader Harry Reid.
Yes.
After GOA killed one of his anti-gun initiatives, he held a press conference and told the media that GOA, and this is a direct quote, GOA is worse than bad. And that's the thing. We specialize in putting heat on legislators at the state level and in Congress. And if people want to join that movement, they can sign up with our free email alerts at gunowners.org. That's what we do, is we organize and we put the heat on these legislators, because quite frankly, it's a lot easier to beat a bill before it gets passed than after it becomes law. And then we got to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to get it stricken in the courts by judges who have lifetime appointments and may or may not care what the Constitution says.
All right. You heard the man. Sign up, check out, and support gunowners.org, and follow Mr. Pratt at Erich M. Pratt on Twitter. Keep doing what you do. I hope you'll be a regular guest on America First, Mr. Pratt.
I would love to. Thanks so much, Sebastian.